Hi, Happy New Year. Happy 2019. I thought I would show some images from 2018. I went on a 3-month trip out west. While I was there, I spoke to rangers in various national parks and some of the national forests and public lands. I asked them one question and I got a lot of really cool answers. So let's see what they have to say for us about getting outdoors and how it can improve us and our lives and the world around us. Okay, first off, the question that I asked was, tell me one thing that the public needs to know in order to better understand, in order to better care about the environment, and or one activity that they can incorporate into their lives to make them more sustainable. So the question was, what do we need to know? One thing that would help you care more, and what's one thing that you could put into your life? The first person that I interviewed, I wish I had started this a lot sooner. I didn't think about it until partway through my trip, but better late than never. All right, so Brian from the Redwoods, he suggests it's really helpful if we start learning where our products come from, that it would do wonders to know the overall life history of a product. As is, we don't think about where it starts or ends. For example, does your product come from China? Did it have to get over here on a ship? Did it have to be flown over? Where did all the ingredients from the product come from? Or did somebody in your neighborhood make that product so that it has far less of an impact? Lori, also from the Redwoods, suggests that it would be helpful if we learned our actions have consequences. I personally think that goes for better or worse, that our good actions have consequences and our bad ones do also. She also says, good to learn about the environment around you. We tend to think of the environment often as some of these places that I went to, these amazing national parks, but the environment, of course, is everywhere. It is everything. So if we can start thinking about what's going on around in our backyard, in our neighborhood, that would be pretty darn cool. Joseph, who works at Kenai Fjords National Park in Alaska, suggested that one activity is that as we learn about our impact, then we can teach others. And therefore, we'll actually become more entrenched in that value. So as a teacher, you're learning more as you teach, and also your students, whoever they might be, are learning more. He also said that if we know that every little action has an impact on the environment, and those actions are far-reaching, no matter how small they may seem. Again, this is true for both good and bad actions, that whatever we do, I'm sure you can see the whole picture, has an impact. So if you see some trash laying around, pick it up. If you drop your own trash, go back and get it. Both of those have amazing impacts. Cornelius, a tour guide in Alaska, said, get rid of grocery bags. We should just outlaw them. They trash up the environment. They're just a waste. People get them and they throw them away. So take your own trash bags. Janet, who works in the same tour guide area, suggests that you plan your trips better so that you minimize your car use, your gas use, your carbon dioxide. One thing I have learned is if it is better for the environment, it's almost always better for us. So if it's better for the environment to not use as much gas, ka-ching, helps your own pocketbook. Tandy, a ranger interpreter in Denali, says climate change is affecting Denali, and even more so here than what people learn about on the news. In Alaska, there's a lot of talk about coastal loss and climate refugees from losing their shoreline. But we don't hear about that in other places. I certainly had not heard about it. In fact, I kayaked with a woman who works at the energy department in Alaska. She said they have 42 villages that they're having to relocate because of their homes being destroyed by coastal flooding as a result of climate change. So if you can learn about things that are happening near where you are or where you're going, then you're more likely to understand that it's having an impact and see what you can do about it. For example, I believe if you go to a national park, state, city, or even a county one, if you're in any place where people are working on the environment, ask them how climate change is affecting the place. Ask them, what is going on. You're at that place because you like it. So go up to one of the people that works there and say, hey, what's going on? And how's this area getting along? Is there anything I can do to change my behavior so that it won't be as impacted? The lady in Denali also talked about how recycling is good, but we really need to start thinking about reuse, or we also need to start choosing products that don't have so many products in them. In Alaska, all over, they really don't have very much recycling. It seems kind of odd because, the whole thing is environment, but really, recycling requires more energy. You have to take it to some place to have it recycled. In Alaska, those places are few and far between, so it makes no sense to truck all that out, get it recycled. It's a whole lot better if you just reuse something you already have. Get creative. When you think about caring for the environment, then you can start finding ways to show that you care. What she's talking about in terms of buying products that don't have so many in them, if you look at the ingredient level, or if you think about what it is that you've bought, if there's a lot of other smaller products in there, every single one that was made had to take up some energy, it has to take up some footprint, it has to have been trucked to another place or shipped or flown. So the cleaner the products you can buy, the better it is going to be for the environment. And I'd like to throw out, we talk about environment like it's this thing out there, but again, it's everywhere we live. This is a really cool thing. This is pervious concrete. Most concrete is impervious, which means when the rain hits it, it washes away, right? It goes down through the gutters, into the sewer, out to the river, and away it goes. When concrete is pervious, it actually can penetrate to the ground right where it is landing. So this tree gets watered by the rain instead of not getting water, and then the groundwater is replenished. I was really excited about it. I've heard of it. I have not been able to see it anywhere out in use. So there it is, Seattle, doing the good deed. Oh, let's see. This is Diane from Craters of the Lost Moon. She says you have to have a feeling for the natural world. You have to connect with it on some emotional level. You can give people activities to do, but that might not necessarily help them really connect. She suggests one thing that you could do is to start drawing. Go outside, right in front of wherever it is you live, and look at that tree, look at the grass, look at the flowers, whatever is right around you, draw it. The more you're engaged with it, the more you'll appreciate how amazing things are. In that same vein, she says, don't go, but when you see bugs. When I worked as the challenge course facilitator, we used to tell them there were spiders there and you could hear all this, but I like to remind them that if we didn't have spiders, we wouldn't be able to breathe because there's so many bugs around. Also, Diane says, even if you're in a city, you can connect to nature. We're just so very separated. Wendy, another ranger program person at the creators of the Lost Moon, says we only have one planet. There will always be another day for making money or lounging in your PJs watching Netflix. So even if it's hot or cold, it's worth it to get outside because, she says, those memories go on forever. She also continues to say that conservation begins with appreciation. Things will only have a meaning if you have a love for it. You can recycle all you want, but you have to value it for its own sake. She very wisely says, because there's always going to be another conservation fad. So find something you love about the environment and change your behavior for that thing, whether it's clean water or it might be clean air, food if you like to eat. Think about how your impact is big or small based on the thing that you love. Kelly at the Grand Tetons says people need to get people to care, you have to connect them to the environment or they won't care. So instead of rushing through our amazing, unique areas, stay in one of them. Stay there long enough to smell it, touch it, hear the natural sounds. That is amazing, and it is vital for the connection. There are some places you can go to and they'll have a sensory talk. Take the time to do one and take that home with you. You can connect with these same sensory concepts in the outdoors right where you live, as well as in these massive national public areas. She says definitely seek out opportunities like recycling, but also think about minimizing your noise footprint. And think about light pollution. How can you minimize that? Go spend time outside, she says, in some remote place that we don't even have a connection with what we're losing. We don't even know what's being lost. One of the important things is if you're out there doing some of these sensory talks, or if you're staying in a place and really getting to know that area, then you realize that you could see this at home if you worked it out. That you can make sure that things are taken care of and protected where you are. Jenny at the Grand Tetons in another location says, what is needed is to experience nature. You don't have to just know it. You have to experience it. Green space is critical, and finding it in unconventional places is key to make a connection if you're not near larger spaces like public lands. Finding value in all green spaces is key. Green would include blue water. Let's see. In terms of making things more sustainable, she says one action is to incorporate in our lives is gardening. That it not only teaches you about how plants grow, but also teaches you about food, food waste, and healthy eating. All of those things fall into sustainable actions. You'd never know that you could get so excited about an eggplant. But when it's something you put your energy into, and all of a sudden, you're connected to the natural world. I would like to add to that, that's one of the most amazing things about volunteering. So this summer I volunteered with 3 different organizations to do trail maintenance work. I have never felt so a part of a place and so honored to be there. The volunteering really helped me understand what was going on and feel like I had some invested interest in it, instead of just seeing things. So that's one thing that Jenny says is we need to learn to love our parks better. A couple examples of that are throw trash in the receptacle. Seems pretty simple, but a lot of people don't do it. She also says if you know the rules, follow them. Speak up if someone is doing something wrong that they might not know that that's the rule. So if you go up and very kindly say, hey, did you realize that we're not supposed to be doing this? You might help them understand, and they'll also benefit from knowing the place a little better. When I listened to a talk and Capitol Reef, I suppose this is where my idea came from. They had several different talks that I went to. One of the women was really, really good. She gave you all these cool facts and pictures about several different types of creatures that lived out there. Then she told you how you could help them. One of the things she said was, go the speed limit. She said, it's 15 miles an hour for a reason, that the lizards there can't run fast enough to get out of your way. That a lot of the other creatures, that the frogs, the things that she had just been talking about, she said they need you to go the speed limit. She very pointedly called us all out and said, I'm coming here to go to work. If I can drive 15, you can. You're on vacation. One of the other things I've noticed when I was traveling through a lot of places out west, particularly at night when the speed limit is 55, again, it's because the animals can't get out of your way any faster. That it isn't that you can't drive the road except at that speed. That, how about this for an idea? It's not always all about us. That we're going that speed so that the animals who call that place home and live there all the time will be more safe and more protected. All right. Paul, who is a volunteer at the Colorado Montrose Public Land Center, says, always, people need to simply get out there. On foot preferably. Bike is good, maybe on a motor-sized bike. But if you get out there, you'll know why it's important. One of his favorite quotes is from John Muir. This photograph is from a tick that bit me. You never know what you're going to find when you get out there. You're scared of lions and tigers and bears and wolves and oh my, but it's the ticks that take you back into the doctor's office. Let's see. John Muir, climb the mountains and get their good tidings. Nature's peace will flow into you as sunshine flows into trees. He sums it up by just saying again, get out there. Just be in the public lands and you will appreciate them. So I'd like to summarize some of the points that our wise rangers have offered us. Some things that we can incorporate into our goals, hopefully, for the new year about how we can not just take care of the planet better, but really, honestly, take care of ourselves better, right? Like I said, everything that we do for the environment, ultimately, it's better for us too. So here are a few of their points. Know where products come from. As we learn about our impact, teach others. Every action has an impact. Think reuse and not just recycling. Pick products that have fewer products in them. Go outside and draw to gain an appreciation. Choose to get out instead of focusing on making money or watching Netflix. Find a love. Learn its value. Don't chase the conservation fads. Get outside at night. This picture, believe it or not, is night. That was Alaska at midnight. So you never know when you get out at night what you might see. Stay in one spot to know it, to smell what's there, to touch it, and to hear the sounds. Garden. Throw trash in the receptacle. If the speed limit says 15 or 55, go 55 for all the wildlife. Ultimately, simply get out there. I hope you have a fantastic 2019. Enjoy nature.